My dear Africans, wherever you are, on the continent or in the diaspora, I have a question for you. Who taught you to doubt the stories and skills your elders carried like treasure? Who told you that your grandmother's knowledge of herbs was guesswork, yet paid billions to pharmaceutical companies now isolating the same compounds from the very plants she used? Why do we trust maps that made Africa look small and history books that skipped empires like Kush, Oyo, Benin, and Songhai? Who convinced you that to be educated meant knowing Shakespeare, Plato, and Aristotle, but nothing of Shaka Zulu, Queen Nzinga, or the philosophies of Kemet? Why do we memorize the French Revolution, but forget the Haitian one? The successful slave revolt in history, led by Africans who understood freedom like gospel. Who taught us to celebrate English fluency while mocking our own tongues? Even as linguists today study Bantu languages for their complexity, tonal structure, and memory systems. Why are our indigenous governance systems, consensus-based, elder-led, communal, dismissed as tribal, but corporate hierarchies celebrated as organized? Who decided that your gods were myths but Zeus deserved a museum? Why do we praise Western theories of emotional intelligence but ignore that our communities taught us Ubuntu? I am because we are, and who benefits when we forget that truth? Who profits when we doubt our inheritance? And most of all, why must we wait for validation from the descendants of our colonizers to believe that what we know is also right? And finally, will you keep repeating their stories or begin to tell your own? Because every time you reclaim a name, speak a proverb, plant a seed, or teach your child what your grandmother knew, you are refusing erasure. You are restoring truth. Share this with an African. Hit the follow button because we're not done telling the real stories of the motherland. This is just the beginning.
Why did Africa choose to believe everything their masters tell them? That is what have been keeping Africa in where they is. Because Africa have rejected everything that Africa have as a continent, only to believe in what their master tell them. What makes you believe that that thing that your master told you is truth? Because they have shaping your mind, giving you religion and democracy, which is a government, which they go through. You abandon everything that Africa have as a continent. You reject everything that Africa have as a continent. You downgrade everything that Africa have as a continent and make them inferiority, like they are not original. Come by yourself as African man, originalize everything that your master bring to your continent. To the extent the Christianity then give you, if you pray and you did not pray to English language, it will be like the prayers, God did not hear it. Then bring the Christianity, name every name of the Bible name, angel, everything in that Bible, they name it with English language. Name, even after you pray in Africa, if you don't put it amen, it will be like the prayer did not work. And out of 80% of Christian, if you then pray, you did not put amen. If you speak another thing where it's not that amen, then we see that you are unbeliever. Who told you that that time Jesus then said that Jesus come? Who told you that then speak English? Who told you that Jesus speak English? Who told you that after the prayer, the answer, the Pharisees and the Sadducees answered is amen? Who told you that? Your master. They make you now reject whatever you have as an African man. And whatever you have is what they come and take and rename it and bring it back to you. And you accept it with what they want you to call it as an African man. When are we going to wake up and think like Captain Ibrahim Traore? When are we going to think and begin to make use of our number 6 like people that have brain in Africa? When are we going to wake up to reclaim our position as a human being in this our planet Africa? Because they have brainwashed us to the extent that even our mother's language, we can't speak it anymore because of what our master told us. In a family, Many families, there's a people that don't speak their mother dialect or their father dialect. Why? Because you teach them to love what does not matter. In out of 44 countries in Europe, how many people speak English? It's only 16 or 17 speak English, learn English, not that they are English speaking country. And those 15 or 16, I'm telling you now, out of 20, after 44, the English, you will find 100 people and it can be only 10 understand the English. Because it is not, they don't have nothing to do with it. It is not wisdom. It is not the English will make them be whom they are. But in Africa, we see people that speak that English and French language like Messiah. If you don't speak them, you are you know you don't want to exist. That is Africa mentality. When are we going to reshape our thinking and deposit back what we have to our own sense? We need it if we want to succeed. We need it if we want to possess our possession. We need it if we really want to be included in this planet that we come. We cannot unless we start being follow. We cannot unless we stop learning what is not necessary. It is only in Africa, and when Africa learn that English finish and learn that French language finish, professor will only use it to ring election. You see, Africa man. To after the English and everything you study, become a professor, the only work he will do in Africa is to ring election, store ballot box, put illiterate in the post to become a president. So why are we following ourselves? Why are we focusing where there's no focus? Why are we facing bush and naming it road? Why are we refuse to understand? Why did we refuse to think like a human being? If we don't return back to our root, our master will never respect us. Because they know that we don't have focus. Because how we think and how we behave. Now they have using debt and everything after the colonization ended, then independence come. They use debt to recolonize every African continent. They use debt to recolonize and begin to dig every of African resources because of enough debt Africa have borrowed. Borrowing the money, then take from your place. Don't you see that there's something wrong with Africa? Thinking like Captain Ibrahim Traore is always the best if we want to succeed in this, our planet. Don't forget to touch the share button.